Hi, guys, it's Karen from Four Directions Healing and Wellness here to talk a little bit about ego versus higher self. So, what is the ego? The ego, most people will describe as our false self, um, our small self, small s self, our personality. Um, some people describe it as a lower vibrational aspect of us, like something that's it's the part of us that is fearful. It's a part of us that judges and compares and worries about what other people think and what kind of house we live in and what kind of car we drive and all that stuff that really, at the end of the day, really doesn't mean much. Certainly not beyond the dimension that we find ourselves in right now. The higher self is like your soul self. It's like that part of you that's connected to creator, divine source, the quantum field, the field of infinite possibilities. So the question becomes, how do you sort of bridge the gap? Well, ego and higher self simply are. The ego is there. Some people say you got to kill it off. Ego death, ego death. Other people will say the ego is your amigo, it is your friend. Bottom line is the ego is part of your existence. So, to the extent that any of us would like to get rid of our egos, that's a little bit dicey because the irony is that the desire to get rid of it is actually part of the ego itself speaking, because it's based in a certain intentionality, and it's rooted in fear and judgment. This isn't, I'm not going to own this part of myself. It's a part of all of us. I think the challenge is to learn to lead with your higher self, the part of you that is rooted and knows on some level that we're all connected, that we're all one, that we all come from the same source, as opposed to here are the things that make us different, which is the ego self. I think both aspects of us are here to guide us through our human journey, but sometimes the ego will lead us into perpetual trauma cycles and programmed behaviors. And while the higher self leads us into the higher version, the next highest potential for us, the next highest version of us. And I think that, people have said to me, how do I know if it's my ego talking or my higher self? I think for me, both can sound like voices in our heads, like just thoughts that come in. So it can be difficult to navigate, but there are some key differences, and I'll share those with you now. Ego is based in fear. Don't do that. This might happen. The higher self comes from a place of safety and knowingness that all is well. The ego is about duality. There's a lot of judgment there. It's good, it's bad, it's better, it's worse. Whereas your higher self comes from a place of neutrality. Everything is just as it is. Your ego tends to respond from the past or the future, the worrying and based on this and that. Whereas your soul responds from now. It's in this moment. Ego is a place of victimhood, whereas higher self is more of an empowered place. Um, Ego is demanding. Your higher self is compassionate. The ego is loud. The higher self voice is soft. The ego voice is about getting gratification now. It's got to happen now. Whereas the higher self is about patience and trusting in divine timing. And with ego, you'll often get conflicted messages like, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. That's not your higher self. The higher self is it's simplistic in terms of the messages that you get. So it's not about, in my mind and in my experience, getting rid of ego or killing off ego. It's about leading with your higher self. It's about trusting that there's an aspect of you that is trying to lead you in a place that is for your highest good, where the outcome is for your highest good, where you can live your purpose and where you can live your potential. That's what I feel the difference is. So I hope that's helpful for you. Again, as I said, I don't believe it's about killing off ego. I think it's about letting ego take a back seat. It's like fear. Fear will always be part of the journey, but you don't have to let it drive. So this is about letting your higher self drive, about fostering your connection to source and trusting that everything in every way in your life is about divine plans and divine timing. The ego part of us believes that we can control everything, but as most of us know, we've had many experiences, I'm sure, where we've not controlled anything. We just thought we were. In any case, I encourage you and invite you to look at what you're leading with. Are you leading with ego? Are you leading with higher self? And as much as possible, start to move towards leading with your higher self. If you need help with that or you need guidance around that, feel free to contact me directly at fordirectionshealingandwellness@gmail.com, or you can catch me on Instagram or even on Messenger. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I love you, want the best for you all, and just say trust. Trust that what is meant for you will never pass you by. Take care, loves. Good night.